So today we're going to look at vertical and adjacent angles. So angles are vertical when two lines intersect. So given the picture below, we are asked to label the vertical and adjacent angles. So adjacent angles share a common side and vertex. So if I asked you which angles were adjacent to angle A, and I'm going to highlight angle A, I want to know simply which angles share a common side and meet in the middle at the vertex. So adjacent to angle A, excuse me, would be angle B because they share a common side, and angle D because they share a common side, and they all meet in the middle. So an easy way to remember this, angles are going to be adjacent if they are next to each other, and you probably want to make a note of this. So adjacent angles are next to each other, they share a common side and vertex. So we said that angle A is adjacent to angles B and D. You could also say that angle B is adjacent to C and A. They're next to each other. Angle C is adjacent to angle B and D. And angle D is adjacent to A and C. So again, they share a common side and vertex. All right, next we're going to look at vertical angles. So vertical angles, they are across from each other and congruent, and they have the same measurement. So vertical angles would be angle A and C. So they're directly across from each other, and they would have the same measurement. So A and C are vertical. And angle D and B are also vertical. All right, if angle A has a measure of 110 degrees, determine the measure of the other angles. So I'm going to fill in 110 for angle A, and we want to know the measurement of the other angles. So I want to know the measurement of angle B, angle C, and angle D. So if I look at angle B, these two, and you should notice that they create that supplementary angle that we've been working with. So they create that half a circle or that 180 degrees. So angle B would be 70 degrees, and that's because it's supplementary to angle A. So B is going to be 70 degrees. All right, angle C is vertical to angle A, so it's 110 degrees. And it's also supplementary to angle B. If they're next to each other or they're adjacent with these intersecting lines, they're probably going to be supplementary as well. So angle C is 110 degrees. All right, and angle D is vertical to angle D, angle D is vertical to angle B, so that would be 70 degrees. When you add these four angles up, you should get 360 degrees because you're simply creating two half circles here. And two half circles would make a full circle of 360 degrees. So the sum of the four angles would be 360 degrees because it creates a full circle. All right, next we are asked to determine the missing angle measurements. So number 4 says I have 148 degrees and I'm finding the measurement of angle X. So angle X is directly across, so X would also be 148 degrees, and we know that because it is vertical. All right, the next one says that we have a total of 117 degrees. So this angle totals 117, And this inside portion is 94, and we want to know what x is. So we have 94, and we want to know what's left. So I'm going to say x plus 94 needs to equal a total of 117. So if I do 117 minus 94, that is going to give us 23 degrees for x. All right, and number 6, we have 35 degrees, and we want to know its vertical angle. So its vertical angle will also be 35, and we know that because it is vertical. So vertical angles are congruent. All right, question 7, we're going to use the picture on the left for 7 and 8. It says, write and solve an equation to determine the measure of angle K. So if I look at this, I can see this straight line here. And we know that when a straight line forms, that we form supplementary angles. So if I look here, and I have this straight line, that means that this should form a supplementary angle. And we know that supplementary angles are going to be 180 degrees. So if I was solving for K, I would say 60, and I also have 40 here, so plus 40 plus K, because we're solving for K, and that needs to equal 180 because they're supplementary. So 60 plus 40 is going to give us 100. So 100 plus K equals 180. And then when I subtract 100 from both sides, you would get that K is equal to 80 degrees. So I'm going to fill K in here as 80. All right, now we want to find the measurement of angle M. So there's a couple ways I can do this. So M is vertical to 60 and 40. So if it's vertical to 60 and 40, that means that it's going to be the sum of those two angles, which would be 100. Or I could also see another relationship here and say that M and K are supplementary. So again, they're creating that half a circle. So if those are supplementary, I would say 80 plus x equals 180. And I subtract 80 from both sides, and I get that x is, or M is 100 degrees. So that means that this angle here is 100. All right, and question 9 and 10, write and solve an equation to find the measure of angle G. All right, so we have this right angle here, and we know that right angles are equal to 90. So I'm going to fill this in with 90. Now I'm going to look for my supplementary angles. And if I look here, I have this straight line going through, and the straight line will form a supplementary angle. So I have 32, I have 90, and I want to find the measure of angle G. So I'm going to say 32 plus 90 plus G equals 180. So 32 plus 90 is going to give me 122 plus G equals 180. I'm going to subtract 122 from 180. And that's going to give me 58. So G is equal to 58 degrees. All right, the next question says, based on this information given and the measure of angle G, explain how you can determine the measure of angle J. So if I look at this, angle G and go straight across, its vertical angle is also going to be 58. Now I know that those top three angles form 180 degrees, but my bottom angles are also going to form 180 degrees. So if I have 58 and I need to find the angle J, so I'm going to say 58 plus J equals 180, and I subtract 58 from 180, that's going to give me 122. Now another way we could do this, J is vertical to angle 32 and 90. They are across from each other and they are congruent. So I could also say 32 plus 90, and that will give me 122. All right, the next one says write and solve an equation to find the measure of angle Z. All right, so to do this, I need to look at a couple different relationships. So I have 112, and I can also fill in its vertical angle here. So straight across is also going to be 112. All right, I have 29, and straight across from that is also going to be 29. Now I can look and say, okay, what kind of relationships do I have here? So if I look at this, I see my straight line going through the middle, and I can see that a supplementary angle is being formed here. So if these three create a supplementary angle, I can say 29 plus 112 plus Z equals 180. So I'm going to say 112 plus 29, which is going to give me 141, plus Z equals 180. And if I subtract 141 from 180, that is going to give me that Z is equal to 39. So that means this angle here is 39 degrees. Right, its vertical angle would also be 39 if we were to fill that in. All right, so another way you could have done this is using any of the other supplementary angle pairs. So we said that the angles that are next to each other with a straight line would form supplementary angles. So if I look here, these will form supplementary angles. This would form a supplementary angle. So those three angles together will form supplementary angles. So you are just going to look for supplementary angles.